I'm getting to it. There we go. Okay. Watch party. Okay, there we go.
One more girl. All right, all right.
Okay. I forgot to turn the sound down.
You said the song?
The sound was still up on my phone so I could hear us talking.
Oh, it's okay. Well, first and foremost, I would like for you to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are and what you do and about your organization.
Oh boy. Okay. So my name is Brenda Colter. I am a life and business coach, and I do emotional intelligence and stress management training for individuals and community organizations. My business is called Her Beautiful Mind. So I meet with people who are usually their moms. Who are involved in like community organizations and they're trying to just better themselves in different ways. We do workshops, we do all kinds of things, mostly based around emotional intelligence. And like I said, in stress management as well. So that's what I do with Her Beautiful Mind. I'm also the managing partner of Silk Consulting. We do that same thing, but we go into companies and we do that for businesses. I also am the founder of the Ohio Coalition for the Prevention of Black Maternal Toxic Stress, which is still, again, based on my program, all around reducing stress so that we're seeing more positive health outcomes in our women in the Black community.
That is amazing. So, you yourself, how do you cope with things daily when you're taking on so much from others? So, what is your solution for yourself?
I have to be very, very diligent about self care. And I know self care is really, it's kind of become a buzzword. So it's almost a cliche at this point, but figuring out exactly what I need to do for myself during the week and completely shutting off. I had a habit of saying, well, I'm not working today. And then I would grab my laptop and be like, well, I'm going to just send a couple of emails. And I finally came to a point to where when I'm not working, I am not working. I don't answer text messages. I don't answer emails. I don't do any of that until it's time for me to be on for work. So just taking that time to myself to unwind and not think about the things that are involved with work as well.
That is good. So, how do you prioritize your time?
You want to see my calendar? No. So I am so I did this thing called block scheduling where every part of my day is set. During this part of the day, I'm doing this between this hours and these hours, and I'm doing that between these hours and these. It's all color coded because I will forget in a minute. I have a horrible memory. It's just not that great. So it's nothing to be with me and see like my alarms going off and you're like, what's that for? Oh, it's just reminding me to do something.
Okay.
So I just work with block scheduling just to keep my schedule intact.
Okay, that sounds good. So tell me, what had you think of this topic, destroying your limiting beliefs?
Um, Being in this place to where people are considering me to be like this emotional intelligence expert, I'm always looking for ways that we're blocking ourselves. Because the whole thing about emotional intelligence is that you don't know what you don't know. And most of us are just very unaware that we lack the ability to be emotionally intelligent and to know what's good for us, what's bad for us. So just taking a focus and seeing what's going on in the world is usually a really good way to be like, I'm seeing a lot of people doing this thing here, and I think that's something I can help with. So,
So could you tell us a little bit more in an informative way of what limiting beliefs are? Because some people never heard of it in that type of form. Some people will just say negativity or something like that. So
right.
could you go in more detail exactly what it is so other people can get up to speed with it?
So limiting beliefs are beliefs. I always break it all the way down, and I go, well, first of all, what is a belief? It's important that we know that a belief is just a thought that we think over and over and over again. If you think something so many times, you actually start to believe it. It starts to become embedded in you. A limiting belief is something that usually it's born from fear. That prevents us from moving forward in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So that can be in work, that can be in business, that can be in our personal lives, in our relationships, anything that keeps us held back and stops us from prospering or moving forward in any area of our lives could be a limiting belief.
Yes, definitely. Because it's, I mean, even ourselves, we dealt with that plenty of times, and we can still battle it now.
Yeah.
It's the fact of removing yourself from that thought process.
Right.
And that's like a lot of people don't understand like how powerful the mind is. So if you have something on your mind, your body will start to react to it. Everything will start to create a whole reaction on
Yes.
top. And then a lot of people don't know like just how powerful that is. And it can make you sick too.
Absolutely. There are scientific studies that have been done that shows that thinking negatively can contribute to the issues that we have in our bodies, the high blood pressure, the diabetes, with women, especially the womb issues that we have. So if you're noticing like fibroids and like a lot of the feminine health issues that we see in women are usually based on some type of negative emotions, some sort of negative feeling that's ongoing and that they haven't been able to overcome.
Yes, and a lot of that could come from stress.
Yes.
A lot of stress, and then sometimes people can also put their limiting beliefs upon us, and we could take on that from a person, and you don't even realize it because you got their beliefs on top of your own, and you just running yourself crazy.
Absolutely. And it can become societal. Like there are things in the limiting beliefs workshop that I do. I talk about, of course, the normal limiting beliefs that I can't, I'm not able to, just all of those, all that kind of limited thinking that we know and we automatically know that that's not a great way to think. But
Right.
there are things that are just like cliches and societal norms that are limiting beliefs, and we really don't realize that. Like when I hear a woman say, well, I really don't deal with women all like that, that makes me cringe, because that in and of itself is a limiting belief. If every interaction that you have with a woman, you're going in saying, well, I really don't deal with women, then you're going to behave in a way that's going to make that woman not want to deal with you, and it's going to create a sort of a tension, and you just created that energy with your thoughts.
Yes, and it definitely does that, and a lot of people really don't realize that because they could be doing it right now.
Absolutely.
And it's just be like, wait a minute, how did I even get here? So what are ways that people can break away from limiting beliefs?
The first thing is to understand, the very core of my teaching is always, feelings are not facts. A lot of the time we go on how we feel, and that creates a reaction instead of taking a pause to go, why do I feel this way? That's usually based on a thought. So figuring out what is this thought that's leading me to this feeling, and see exactly where's the flaw in that thinking, because there's usually some kind of a flawed thinking, or it's usually based on previous experiences where you're not allowing the situation that you're in to be governed accordingly, because you're so busy letting old situations govern how you treat this situation. So just being mindful of our thoughts and challenging those, because
Right.
so many of us go, well, I mean, that's just how I am, I can't help it. That's a limiting belief. That's
Yeah.
just how you are, you can't.
No lie. You just don't want to. At the end of the
Absolutely.
day. You know, a lot of people they you could become distracted by it and comfortable.
Listen.
So like it's like it's a defense mechanism,
Absolutely.
and it's also a covering, like to a point where you feel like limiting beliefs is your shield, and it's
Yes.
too, and it's really not. It's like with if you're living freely, that makes you feel a lot better about yourself, and a lot of people think they feel better about themselves just being just what they are at that moment.
Absolutely. And some people hide under it, using it as a guise of, well, I'm just being realistic. And it's like, well, are you just being realistic, or are you pulling all of your baggage from past situations into your
Mhm.
new situation? So
And then
it's
play victim.
right. So it's important that we take those lessons and we apply them in a productive way. I'm not ever saying that you shouldn't take your experiences from the past, learn from those, and allow them to, in a healthy way, govern how you have your relationships and your interactions with people. But when it's not healthy, that's when it's a problem.
Oh yeah, definitely. Could you give me a few examples of individuals that you have spoken to that you felt was like a serious case when it took you a while to break them from that?
I can give you situations, because it's like so many different situations. I have so many of my clients are like loyal to a fault. Like there is this some sort of, oh my God, because I'm ride or die, and I'm so and I'm always there for everybody else and nobody's there for me. And it's like, well, honey, that's your problem. That's not that's something that you have to figure out. So I always have to explain the concept of toxic loyalty. Like you can be too loyal for your own good, and you have to figure out what that looks like, because when it's to your own detriment, when it's creating resentment for the people that you love and care about, or when you find yourself lacking what you need because of what you're doing for others, then that loyalty is no longer a positive trait. It's no longer healthy at that point, and you have to figure out exactly what you can do to make a change. So that's something that I see all the time, toxic loyalty. And that's one of those things, like I said, it's one of those societal norms. So with that one, I always ask people, like, what's driving your loyalty? Do you feel obligated to do these things for people? Because of course that's an issue.
Right.
Is that martyrdom thing? Oh, woe is me. Everybody's always walking all over me. Some people feel comfort in that. So if you're seeking comfort in that, that's a problem. That's not healthy. That's something you want to figure out. Or do you need that sense of longing or that sense of youth or of usefulness? Is that what you thrive off of? Because again, of course, we want to be useful, but when you're lacking because of it, that's an issue. So I think that's probably my top one. Toxic loyalty for sure.
And that shares with a lot of people, even myself.
Oh yeah.
Like even myself, I find myself giving. And then once they're done with me giving, it's like I'm the worst person in the world. Well, I got where I'm at today, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that, so I'm good. And it's hurtful.
It is
the way, and it caused people to develop a lot of layers of pain over their lives. And when people develop different things like that, what is something that you recommend for people to do to heal from being destroyed by limiting beliefs?
Oh my gosh. So healing is such a personal thing because it's so different, and it's really based on what the drivers are, because I'm really good at going back and figuring out what's the root of this issue. What is it about you that makes you feel like, one thing that I'll use as an example is Jada Pinkett, when she talked on her Red Table Talk, when she talked about that need for feeling needed, and it causing her to gravitate towards people who were clearly unhealthy for her marriage, unhealthy for her life, but just feeling needed was enough to have her do something that wreaked havoc in her personal life. So it's like figuring out what that root is. So it really varies on what the help looks like. Because it's so different, and it all depends on what's driving these behaviors. And another issue is usually just healthy boundaries. Most of us do not have healthy boundaries. I remember the first time I heard somebody say that no is a complete sentence, and I was like, you can't just tell somebody no and not tell them why. Like, that's rude to just be like no. And now, well, no.
You could turn it into an auto tune.
Stretch it out. No, I can count it. No. Like I can't.
The remix, no. Seriously, like I had to learn myself by saying no to so many things, and then I just found myself getting so carried away. Before even somebody says, I'm like, no. I got it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not here.
Right. No, but I mean, but you bring up a good point, because you do have to have balance. Like, not just saying no for the sake of saying no, but again, that's the difference between barriers and healthy boundaries. You don't want to create barriers between you and the people that you love, but you do want to have some healthy boundaries, and you do want to be able to go. I had a habit now that I keep my calendar, because I would just yes people if it was something that sounded like a good idea or I wanted to help with. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll help you with that. And then I look at my calendar and be like, girl, when
you got the time? When do you got time for yourself? I was that person. Listen.
Right. And it was and that out of a sense of just wanting to help. So you can do the wrong thing for the right reason. Like if it's a good reason, like I want to be able to help people, but I had to be realistic about my abilities and go, you know what, I'm really not able to do that. I wish I could, or I'll offer something else. Here's something that I can do. I can do this if you want me to. can't do that.
Right. And a lot of people don't know, like, if you're rewriting your limiting beliefs, it's like fear of success. A lot of people want to start a business. A lot of people want to do so many things in life, and they waited to years gone by, but they don't know it's any time you could do that. So you can
Absolutely.
get rid of that fear. And then you got fear of failure. And then if somebody feel like they're failing all the time, if you're failing, get yourself back up and try it all over again. Because I
Right.
know myself, I failed on a lot of things before, but
Still,
it's like I'm not going to let that stop me from, you know, developing more to myself. Like, okay, why don't you do this for you? Okay, if I fail with that, I know next time I could do it better. You know, it's just different things that you can do on
right. And
that.
somebody called it failing forward, fail forward. I can't remember who said that, fail forward.
Straight
Because
on the thing.
right. And the concept is just you will fail, but just pick yourself up and then figure out, okay, so where did this go wrong? What happened? What can I
Mhm.
do to fix it? And then doing those things. I mean, it's not,
Yep.
and I'm not saying it because people go, well, you make it seem like it's so easy. Never said that. You
No,
never were easy.
that's your thought process. You think it's supposed to be easy. I don't know. A lot of people like the easy way out, though.
And that
You
right
know?
there, this society has created like instant results. Everybody wants it. We don't want to wait for anything. Like, do you know how I feel when I see an ad? Like, if I'm using
Oh
somebody
yeah,
YouTube and an ad pop up, like, girl, why you? Who wants to wait for commercials? Like, we are
yeah,
so that instant gratification, and we don't want to wait. So now that's manifesting in people's dreams and their thought spaces and their purpose. And it's like you can't rush greatness
yeah.
or
You can't.
fail.
You know, and a lot of people don't understand that you have to struggle to make it. You have to fail to get stronger. You have to get rejection for you to end up getting that yes. You
Yes.
know, you have to, you know, just even being loved. Like, if you're not being loved and that's your belief on loving somebody, sometimes it will be a person that come and love you the same way or even more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like it also tie together with you loving yourself too.
And that is a key component that's missing. Like I see that now more as I work with young girls. Well, I thought I would see it more in young girls, but I'm starting to see that it just manifests differently in older women. So it doesn't look the same, but it's still there. And a lot of us have a lot of love issues and heart issues. I mean, me myself, I'm still working through. And as I'm helping people through these things, sometimes things come up for me, and I'm like, "Whoa, I thought I got over that, but I felt that
Yeah,
a little bit right here. Let me."
that was like, where you come from? Go away.
Right. And I have to dig into that thing and figure out exactly what it is I need to do to move forward. Or it's perfectly okay to go, I mean, I felt it. Okay. I'm apparently still feeling that a little bit. Now I'm ready to move on and I don't want to dig into it. I mean, just understanding yourself and knowing yourself. So
Yes.
one tool that I always give to everybody is I always be like, do you got your keys? Like when I'm on with my clients, I'll be like, do you got your keys? Because I have a quick and easy way for people to remember exactly how you can work your way through this process. And it's key. It's to know your truth, to evaluate your truth, and then to yield to your truth. So understanding that self-awareness is the first point. And I don't know if you and I talked about this before, but a statistic that I always throw out there because most people don't know it is that in this world, 95% of the people in this world believe that they're self-aware.
Oh yeah, you told me about
12%
that.
of these people actually are. So most of us are walking around here doing things and trying to be things and trying to make changes when we haven't even taken the time to get to know ourselves first. So you have to know your truth to be able to go, you know what, this could be a problem for me, and this is my problem, and I need to fix it. And then you can evaluate your truth. You can sit down, you can write it out, you can talk to your phone and do some voice notes, whatever works for you, so that you can get that evaluation process out of the way, and then yield to it, accept it as what it is, and then do whatever work you're willing to do to move beyond it. So that's what anytime somebody tells me that they're stuck, I'm like, you got your keys? Because that's me asking you, did you at least do the foundation work first? And if you have, then we can move from there and I can help you a little bit deeper.
I mean, them keys still lost, huh?
You don't have your keys.
You lost them keys. You still searching like this.
And it's so often, and I'll get a text from a client and she'll be like, girl, I just can't find my keys today. And I'm like, listen, if you need some help, call me and we can talk through it, because sometimes you do need help working through. I mean, it's not, if it was that easy, then everybody would just do it. It's not that easy. It's a very difficult road and a very difficult process. And sometimes it hurts more than it feels good.
But that's life.
Right.
And you know, some people just act like it's just the end of the world. You're breathing, you're doing all this and that, you dealing with the pain. Rejuvenate.
Yes.
Rejuvenate. Get yourself together. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm telling you. And if it's really bad, and I'll tell them, like, I'll give you 2 days. Like, you can be sad. Like, it's okay to be sad about this. You get 2 days to be sad about this.
I need 3 days.
However many you need. That's like a negotiation starting point. 2 is the negotiation starting point.
I need 3 days, 3 days max, and then after that, I could boost back and I'll be cool. And
right.
then it left me, you know.
Yes.
It'd be painful. I don't even want to eat or nothing.
Sometimes it takes that long to get out your feels. And I'm like, I don't want to think and work through this right now. I just want to be sad. I just want to sit in my room. I want to watch all episodes of Grey's Anatomy so I can find a reason to cry. And I just want to eat popcorn.
Let me be great for 3 days. That's what I'm asking. And you know, it just be like that. And that's a way. I know another one is like, I got on here, it's like avoid relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people avoid relationships and people pleasing.
Yes, absolutely.
And I know some of our watchers are people pleasers.
Most of us are. Like, most of us have that. And it's that we know that people love us, not necessarily because, you know what I'm saying, they just get a feeling about us. No, it's because of how we make them feel. Yeah. So you know what I mean? So it's like all of that is all tied in together and figuring out, okay, what can I do with this? Because that's the problem. Like, we have all of these puzzle pieces, but we don't know what, like, if somebody gives you a puzzle, but you don't have a picture of the puzzle, you just don't like there. You just got a bunch of puzzle pieces. No, what it looks like.
I quit this puzzle.
You got like 1,000 pieces. Like, I think I see a bird right here. I don't know.
But you know what? Even though you putting together that puzzle, you know, a lot of people put the around it first.
Right. The foundation.
Yep, the foundation of the whole puzzle. And once you get that together, you start closing it in. And a lot of people don't know that's like a core, like a scientific core that you're putting together, and you're healing yourself daily. Each puzzle piece you putting together all around, it's like, okay, I got this. Right. But people don't think of it that way. They just put the whole dang puzzle together and get mad.
And get mad. That right there, that part, and get mad. And I'm like, but don't stay mad. Like, okay, get mad, fine. But understand that if you get mad and throw this puzzle off the table, then nobody gonna have to put it back together besides you. So don't be so mad that you throw the puzzle off the table. Get mad enough to get up and walk away and come back to it later.
Like, don't hold that grudge because it ain't worth it. Because it'll add on to all the other mess,
right,
that you already accumulated already.
And understanding that your limiting beliefs are yours. So many people allow outsiders to govern, exactly like you said, what their limiting beliefs look like. Like, you cannot tell me that that a person, you not forgiving somebody is like worth you just sitting here and all of your limitations because you can't release whatever anger, whatever hate, whatever fear, whatever it is that you have for this one person. Are you really going to let them hold you back to this degree?
And my thing is, they moved on with their life. Why haven't you?
Period. That part.
They ain't thinking about you. So why are you thinking about them?
At all.
You gotta keep it moving.
They're sleeping fine.
You gotta keep it moving. And sometimes we reject the things that God shows us and give us. And I used to be the queen of rejection.
Listen,
it took me a lot of time to do that myself, you know, but a lot of people got to know, like, what you're supposed to be doing. This is what you have to do for yourself. You got a lot of people don't protect their heart. They don't protect their spirit. It's like they just like lost all the protection for themselves. but they will protect someone else with everything that they got.
And that's what I like. That was really the beginning of my transformation. I was working with a coach, somebody who does the same thing that I do, and I was working with her, and she was like, would you ever talk to one of your friends the way that you're talking to yourself right now? All the negative stuff that you're saying about your head, if your friend came and told you this story, like, well, this happened and then this happened, so I did this, would you be like, oh my God, you were so stupid? Why would you do that? You would never talk to another person like that. So why are you talking to yourself?
Okay.
You would never talk to anyone.
Right.
Listen.
Oh,
So that's the thing. You can coddle yourself, give yourself love, chest, pat yourself on the back, and allow yourself whatever it is that you would give to someone else in the same situation. Be mindful of that.
Mm-hmm. And it all it'll do is just hurt you. It'll hurt you so bad, like the end of the world type bad.
Listen, and that's what happens again when you're not taking ownership and you're allowing another person to figure out exactly what your healing should look like.
Mm-hmm.
The day that I took that power from the people who I felt like had done me wrong in some way, shape, form, or fashion, I honestly feel like that was like the first day of the rest of my life. Like, you no longer have this power, and now I'm free to do what I need to do to make sure that I'm okay.
That's good. Now, could you explain to us, like, a lot of people we battle negative thoughts, of course. But what is some things that you know for a fact by them having these negative thoughts and carrying them on, what affects them the most, you feel?
Oh, my opinion would be fear. I think fear, because it manifests in so many different ways. Fear of being hurt or being damaged in some kind of way. It can manifest in anger. It can manifest in sadness. It can manifest in depression. But at the root, it's really about you being afraid to either feel what you felt in the past or to experience the past. So I believe that fear is definitely probably the most prevalent of the emotions that we need to figure out so that we can move beyond them.
Yes. And another thing that I feel like a lot of people don't think they're good enough to achieve what they want in life.
Right.
And they just put themselves down so much to the point they don't even know, like, you could conquer it all. You could do anything that you put your mind to.
Right.
That's just like us just recently saying, like, how strong the mind is.
Yes.
You don't need somebody to help you get to where you at.
Right. And that is the core. Like, that's the foundation of my program is to immediately start to shift the thoughts. So I walk them through, like, the first week is thought awareness, and then the second week is thought analysis, and then it's thought management. So each week we're walking through figuring out, okay, what are the thoughts that you're having? How are they affecting you on a day-to-day basis? And now what can you do differently so that you're no longer having these thoughts? And that's always the foundation, because that's what I need people to be able to do, because that's what's going to get us through these situations that you haven't been able to think your way through in the past. I'm going to show you how to think. I always call it thinking my way sane.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know another thing about it. Do you do the exercise when people need to start identifying their issues and acknowledging their thoughts?
Absolutely, because again, that's the key. Like, you can't, and this is Dr. Phil says it all the time, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. You can't make any changes in your life if you can't go, you know what, this might be me. When I do talk about limiting beliefs, one of them is the whole not dealing with women. And I'm like, when I reflect during my time where that was a phrase that I said all the time, once I dug in and got honest with myself, there were a few core things that I had to really come to terms with. One, I saw something in that woman that I wish I saw in myself, but I didn't. So there was a little bit of a jealousy component. Or I would see something in her that reminded me of something that I didn't like in myself. And that was something that I needed to change.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to dig in and figure out, like, what is it about me that I can change? Because I can't change that person, but I can figure out exactly what's going on inside of me and get that together.
Yes. And it takes time. Like, it's just, you can't realize that it's going to happen overnight and
Right.
you're just going to be feeling okay. And it's just impossible.
Right.
So it's just you just going through the process and learning from it and making yourself stronger.
And being willing to, and being like, no pain no gain, that's in your emotional life too. That doesn't just apply to the physicalities of working out. That's also your mental strength and your mental energy. I said, there's a line in my book, I can't remember what I was talking about, but I said it's a very difficult thing to look in the mirror and see something distasteful looking back. To look in the mirror and whatever you're looking at, you're like, oh, I don't like that. But
Mhm.
you have the power to change it and you don't have to stay stuck in that place. That's a very empowering feeling. And the limiting belief is, oh, I don't like that. But overcoming that limiting belief is, what can I do to change that?
Oh yeah, definitely. And how is it that someone can find their limiting beliefs? Because some people will have it, and they gotta acknowledge them and identify them. But if they just sit there and just be in denial of it,
Mhm.
what's a solution that you can give them so they could realize, like, okay, this is it. This is one.
Think of an action that you want to take, but you haven't taken yet, and figure out what's stopping you from doing that thing. And that is going to be where you identify your limiting belief. So, and again, usually it's some kind of a fear. Well, what if this happens? Or what if that happens? And it's so funny because women will go, what if that? And then I'll go, what if it does?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't like it. Okay, what else? What else if it doesn't work? And they're like, I just won't like it. Exactly. You'll be fine. You'll wake up and you'll live. Do it and see how it works. And I'm not saying it like it's just the easiest thing in the world, but I know that I would rather have failure than regret on my heart. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would rather have, like, I would rather take that L than to be sitting there, dang, I wonder what would have happened if I would have. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's true. And you be like, dang, I should. You be so bad, like, dang.
Right. Absolutely. I'm like, I would much rather, when I analyze the two, those are, I mean, without a doubt.
What was one of your weaknesses?
Girl, I had so many. I don't even know where to. Forgiveness was my limiting belief. My limiting belief was, why should I have to accept apology that I'm never going to receive? Because
Now that's something.
do you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I don't have to. No, I don't have to love that person. I don't have to talk to that person. I don't have to. No, why? They know that they did something wrong and they won't even acknowledge it. So why would I have to? And it's like, why not? Like, why not give them the joy and the pleasure of seeing you happy despite whatever they did? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just because it's you limiting yourself just
Right.
for you to move forward in your own life.
Absolutely. I'm telling you. And that was my biggest whoo. And I probably, honestly, I probably just released that last year.
Really?
Oh yeah. And I had a lot of times where I was under the illusion that I had fixed it, but really I was avoiding it. So I wouldn't put myself in a position to have to face it. I would just like avoid it at all costs. And I'm like, no, but when you really face this thing, you're really not over it. So you need to figure that out. So I really just came to that place last year. And again, it was so freeing once I realized exactly what it was and put in the work to tackle it. It was hard and it was tough, but I did it. And I'm definitely a better person for it. And I was able to develop a now relationship with that person, not predicated on anything that happened previously. We have a very good relationship now. So,
Wow. And that's good. And it's another thing that a lot of people don't know. Like, the limiting beliefs have a lot to do with how your brain works.
absolutely.
And people don't know there's so many parts of your brain that will have so many thoughts. Like, you can have memories, you can have negative thoughts, you can have hatred, like you can have so many things that's surrounding your brain, and then it could be that moment where everything will get triggered at the same time.
Absolutely.
And it could cause like a mental illness condition in so many ways because you put yourself there.
Absolutely. And there's a part of your brain that keeps track of that. So that's the amygdala. And it keeps track of all of that stuff. So that's the part of your brain that's always going, hold on, wait a minute. We call her Amy G. And we named her, like, during the program, she gets the name. And I created a character, and we created a whole character around Amy G. Dalla and some of the stuff that she says to hold us back, that keeps us held back. But understanding that she's doing it from a place of love, just from her experiences, and understanding that we just have to overcome that part of our brains. And up until probably like 25 years ago, scientists had told us that it couldn't be done. Like
Yeah.
whatever brain you had, whatever you were born with, that's just what it is. But now we know that your thoughts can create new neural pathways to where you can literally change the way you think. And it'll be a more natural process. Now, is it easy? Absolutely not. It takes you practicing,
A
thinking
lot of discipline.
way. Yes, so much.
It takes a lot. Like I used to have a habit of studying a brain a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And from me studying, I've learned a lot of things, but it came a point where I forgot all those things because my mind was somewhere where it wasn't supposed to be. It was like I was just being hard headed, you know?
Right.
Hard headed about it. And we all have our hard headed moments. But I really believe it's very important for people to study the brain, even if you're not going to school to be a
Mm-hmm.
brain surgeon or anything. But if you utilize and see how the brain works, you will know how to transition things in your life and heal from things in your life. And you like, okay, that's where that's coming from.
Right.
Why am I doing this? And it could cause so many things, either success, hurt, pain. It could
Yes.
be a multiple.
It is a driving force, and that is why I'm telling you, the first couple weeks of the program it's a lot of, well, why do we need to know this? Because there is a lot of that. There's a lot of explaining the parts of your brain, what's happening in your brain. Because you ever watch that show like How Stuff Works?
Yeah.
Most people are very interested to just know how things happen, and also it gives a component of, you're not at fault for this being the way that you think. It's not your fault. But if you continue to move in this light, then it is your responsibility to make the choice to make the changes. Because now you know better, and you can or you cannot do better. You get to choose. But if you don't, I don't want to hear no complaining about it. So if you know better, do better.
Hell yeah, definitely. And you have to, if you want better for yourself. It had to be a point in our lives where we just need to accept our faults and move on from them and make everything better in our lives become a lot more peaceful.
Right.
But some people like chaotic though.
And that's what I was just about to say. But we have to identify those people and go, you know what? You stay over here. Go,
Yeah.
I love you very much, but you stay over here. I'm gonna go over there.
I'm about to just slide on over here real quick.
That's where the boundaries come into play. Like, I know that this is not gonna work between you and I here. It doesn't mean that I love you less, but I can't do all of that. We have people in our lives that I call buttholes. I got that from my business partner. Like, don't be a butthole. If I tell you something positive, don't be like, but no, we do not want to deal with that. No, let's take the positivity for what it is, and let's go ahead and accept that and embrace it. Now, if there is a separate issue or separate problem that you need to work through, that's fine. But right now, let's celebrate this victory. Let's celebrate this positivity and sit here for a little bit before we go over there.
Yeah, you just gotta relax, chill out.
Right. And that's of us in that need to stop that emotion, because it's like we said, it's like a negative emotion, a negative feeling. I think most of us feel like, when I feel bad, I have to do something to get out of this space. What do I need to do? I need to make some changes. No, you need to think it through first so that you are acting and not reacting. We don't always want to be reactionary as a result of how we feel. We want to be able to practice the pause, take some time, and actually analyze exactly what we want to do moving forward. Because think about, like, that's where crimes of passion come from. And I know that's an extreme example of it.
No, but it's true though.
But
It's true.
it is. And
Especially today. People love kind of different these days. The love is like, I don't know. It ain't no old school love. It's just some new love that people got going on. Like, it starts off with cars. It starts off with clothes. It starts off how you look, and it's just it's not too many people that love a person within anymore.
absolutely not. And
It's to a point where you have to be beneficial for me to love you.
right.
No, and nobody can't just naturally just love no more. And then that type of love, I'm trying to stay away from that type of love.
The biggest limiting belief, because now what we have is we have all of these people, men and women, who are going, well, you need to prove yourself in order to be worthy of me.
Yeah,
you prove yourself in order to be worthy of me. So you have two people, ain't nobody doing no proving, ain't nobody doing no showing, so ain't nobody doing no trusting, and nothing's working out. I just celebrated my 6-year single anniversary, and I will be this way until something.
It's love. It's like, if you ain't got no shaking and moving or co-sign for a car, or live in a house, and, you know, all that type of stuff. It's like people just be looking for, they come up.
Exactly. And I don't have that kind of.
And like, man, I don't want that type of love. I need something real authentic. Like, if I'm in pain, or if I gain 80 pounds tomorrow, tell me you still gonna love me.
That part.
You know? And I gained it off being in pain. Or if I am in pain, or if I'm hurting, are you going to care enough to pray with me through it?
Right. Because it brings about that whole authenticity issue. When you are so limited in your beliefs and your thought processes about other people, it creates inauthentic interactions. So now nobody's being genuine. Nobody's being, and like you said, nobody's loving anybody through this. Nobody is understanding, okay, listen, we have both been hurt. We've both been through some things in our lives. Let's figure out exactly what moving beyond this looks like together. No, nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to point fingers and not address what's going on inside of them.
Yeah, because 9 times out of 10, like when you going through things, both parties did something. Both parties did something. It's just about really owning up to it, on exactly what was it that you both done to each other, and apologizing. Owning up to it and apologizing can take you so far.
I'm working on a whole workshop on accountability, the art of accountability, I'm calling it, because so many people don't know how to do it. You will be amazed at how many people don't even know how. And I don't think it's always like out of malice. I don't think they're doing that. I think most people just don't know how to go, you know what? This was me right here. This was all my fault.
And I also think it's a feeling of not winning. Everybody want to win.
Yes.
Don't nobody want to feel like they took a loss, or
and I do that all the time. I'm not about to hit nobody. I'm not about to. I'm like, by
but that also comes with pleasing people, because you done talk so much mess to other people, and then if you just come around and start apologizing and owning up to the things that you've done, you're gonna look bad on that bad side, instead of what's real on over here, what we already built together.
Right.
10 of them other people don't know not a dang old thing.
Listen, and don't
just you and that person know something. And it's just about the process of growth. Like, it just takes so much growth from it.
And I always say, like, I've never met so many people who hold stock in what people who really don't care nothing about them anyway think. Like, these people who you're trying to impress don't really care about you anyway. They just want to see what you're doing so they can make sure you're not doing more than what they're doing.
Rush. Yeah. The rush of it. And it's crazy because like negativity feeds certain people's spirit to the point that's what helps them keep going, so they can avoid their issues that they got.
Right. And can you imagine being fueled by negativity? Like, and it's so weird. But it's weird because I've so shifted my thoughts to now. I was actually having a conversation with a friend, and it's a person who's so toxic. And I'm like, God, I kind of want to talk to her. I'm like, what do you think is driving that? Like, you have to have some special kind of problem.
But talk to her for what? Talk to her for what?
To help her. You know, I always want to help everybody.
Yeah, but sometimes people don't want to be helped.
Yeah, but if she does, I want to help her.
Also, you haven't figured out if she needs help yet.
Oh, she needs the help. I haven't figured out.
If saying, like, you communicating with her, seeing if she needs help.
Right. Okay. Like, yeah, or haven't identified, or if she's willing to identify exactly what the root of it is. Because, like I said, that's very backwards to be fueled. It really drains me. If it's I'm tired, I need to go lay down. I can't. But if you hype and kicking it because somebody got some drama, like that's not okay. You need to figure that out.
And you know, that's where that connection comes in. A lot of people feel like they connected with that person during that conversation because you notice, if you'll notice, you'll tell them they get closer and closer and closer, like they just been the whole BFFs, you know.
Back to inauthentic, because now you have this inauthentic of friendship that feels real just because y'all connected on this negative level, and it can't. Nothing like that is gonna be able to last. You can't put two negative sides of a magnet together. That's just not gonna work.
And then you know, a lot of people don't know it causes you to block your blessings.
Absolutely,
there's so many blessings that's in line for us to be in a position where we want to be in life. But we'd go forward and then we'd go all the way back. And it's like we just starting over and over and over again. And then that's when the tears come. Why is this happening to me? What did I do? You know what I'm saying?
That is true. But that's what started working for me when I started being able to identify like certain cycles that were happening in my life. And I'm like, listen, Laura, I'd have met this man before. He had a different name and a different body and he looked different, but it was this man, this very same spirit, this very same energy has just now been returned to me in a different person. So can you help me do this right so I can get this sucker out of here? Because I don't need him back again. So identifying those cycles that you're seeing over and over again so that you can conquer them and move beyond them so that you're not continue to see them, because that's how the universe operates. Until you move beyond this and conquer this thing, you're just going to see it over and over again in a different form. So when you see it the first time, figure out what you need to do and conquer it.
I used to have some negative Nancy traits myself in my 20s.
Right.
And then it got to a point I'm saying like, dang, I'm in my 20s. I've been out of high school. How long? You know, that's what you do in high school.
Listen,
you know, it's like at some point, something triggered in me. Like at some point, you need to grow up.
Absolutely. Like, have you ever had, there are people who, like, even to this day, who I will hear and they like, yeah, I ain't like her in middle school. I don't know why you talking to her. You're 40. Like, what are you talking about? You didn't like her in middle school, so don't talk to her now. That's not normal.
Just petty.
Like, who holds that long a grudge? Like, girl. And she probably not even thinking about you. She don't even know that you didn't like her in middle school. Like whatever she did, that made you so mad at middle school that you still don't like her as a 40-year-old woman. That's not normal.
You don't like her because you couldn't go to her birthday party.
Like her 13th party. Like, girl, I can't.
Oh my God, this is terrible.
But that's all the kind of stuff that I want to heal. And I have so many different clients, different walks of life. And one of the things that I'll do is I'll go, now repeat that again. And they'll say it. And I'll go, okay, say it again. And they'll do it. And like the third time around, they'll be like, damn, that's kind of. Yeah.
I'm so stupid as hell.
Just keep saying it. And usually they catch on and be like, damn, I guess that sounds kind of. And I'm like, okay, so now let's talk about that.
Yeah.
See it. What can you do about it?
It's true, man. I mean, it's so true. So do you do like different type of exercises, like testing? So a person like a questionnaire or something for them to be like, my score kind of high.
Absolutely. Some of the just standardized testings that you have, like DISC assessments and kind of that whole thing. Mm-hmm. Or I would love Myers-Briggs. I absolutely adore Myers-Briggs test. Yeah. All of my clients, I have them take that to start and just to read it. Just again, because most of us don't know ourselves, and it opens your eyes up to some of your characteristics and some of your traits. So that's one that I have them do all the time. And then during the course of whether it's like a coaching client or whether it's a group, it just really depends on whether it's a series of workshops or a single workshop. But I always have a questionnaire at the end just to ask some questions, and then we go through it to see exactly what they score and if they want to score higher, what they could have said differently, and things of that nature. So lots of assessments. I'm really big on those now because people really they respond to being able to see it here in black and white. Like, wow, why did I score so low here? Why did I score? And it brings out a competitive nature. And that's what I see in groups. Like women want to be like, oh, I'm about to score as high as her in this. So how can I do that? So it's a really healthy competition in those situations. So.
Yeah, and that's good. Have you ever tried the assessments on children?
No, I have not had the opportunity to work with a lot of children. I am exploring it because I do my nonprofit. Be the Reason is for youth suicide prevention. But I haven't done any. Kids they tug at my heartstrings too much, and I'm afraid that I can't stay objective enough with kids. Like I don't know. I just want all the kids to be happy and to love on all of them. I'm like I will probably carry most of that stuff back home. I'm on a Stop the Violence Task Force here in Akron, and we had to go through and read like like an assessment from young boys in detention centers, and reading through the questionnaires, I was in tears. Like I was a mess for the whole day, just seeing like how like the hopelessness that's running vampant in our community with our young men. Oh, I was tore up to see some of the things that these young men were saying. It was and I'm like, I don't think I could do this every day. So like kids, I don't know. I don't know. My goal, and I pray to God, I'm like, okay, if I'm supposed to do that, then you're going to help me work on my heartstrings because I can't do it right now.
Don't be limiting your beliefs.
Listen. Sometimes I feel led to help kids, and I'm like this the violence thing is as close as I've gotten.
Yeah.
It's
intense. I think it's like, from the point of us seeing someone now, it's the new norm of seeing a police kill someone, so then we do have street violence still. So
right.
just imagine seeing that person get killed by the police. Just imagine what they've seen on the streets multiple times, more than that.
Right. And that's what I said. I'm like, what we're curing when we talk about this issue of violence in our youth, the young offenders, I'm like, we have to find a cure for their helplessness. Because if you're talking to a 13-year-old boy and you ask him, what does he want to do in 5 years? And he tells you that he hasn't even thought about, I'm like, that hurt my heart. Like that is, I get chills just thinking about it. For a 13-year-old to be like, I don't know, I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm like, when I was 13, I was going to be a doctor and a nurse and a poet.
Marion, and it's crazy. We don't even hear that no more.
I'm like, we have a hopelessness issue in our community, and so
it make you think like, and I'm like, if I have a kid tomorrow, who gonna be their doctor?
Listen,
if they need a lawyer, who gonna be their lawyer?
Right.
It's some kids just not even thinking about any of that no more. It's like I just want to be a street person and do this, do that, and or video model. There's nothing wrong with it, no offense, but it's still more to life,
right? Than popularity. Like where they're going to be seen and be popular. Let me see how I can go viral. Let me say something ridiculous on Facebook in the hopes that a whole bunch of people share it out. Like I'm like, it's sad.
It is. It's very, very heartbreaking, and it just take time and special people, and really them boys need some good old strong, consistent men.
That there you go. Say that word again. Like consistent, and that's the problem.
It's consistent men that is passionate about helping them.
Exactly.
Not for the part time. I'm talking about the full time.
Exactly.
Because they already dealt with part time with their fathers.
Yes, most of them.
Some of them may have fathers, but their fathers didn't have a father.
So right.
It's just so it's girl, listen, we could be all day talking about that.
And it had like for me, for a very long time, I could get real ostrich real quick. I would put my head in the sand and be like, you know what I'm saying? So for a long time, I was so eyes closed. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. And now being a part of so many different organizations, there's no way for me to close my eyes to it, but I don't think I'm supposed to anyway. I'm like, I think I have a usefulness in our community, which was why, aside from Silk, I was like, well, her beautiful mind, we're going to go into the community. We're going to go to the doctor's offices. We're going to let these women, let these people know that they have an ally who looks like them. And it's always awesome when I'm there with a lady and she's like, you don't know what it's like to be. And I'm like, honey, yes, I do. Been there, done that. And I'm very candid. So it really gives them peace to see that it's somebody who's just like who has been where they are and who has moved beyond it, and that there is still hope from where they're starting out. So that's why I love it. And now you got me wondering that kid question has been tugging at me. I'm supposed to have kids in some kind of way.
Don't rush it. Just pray.
Oh, listen, my plate is so full. I'm like, I can't do too much anyway. I gotta be.
Don't overflow that thing.
I need my self-care time. I need my self-care. I can't dig into that.
Well, could you tell everyone if whoever needs to speak with you or get in contact with you, give them your information?
Absolutely. You can visit my website at www.herbeautifulmind220.com, or you can email me at info@herbeautifulmind220.com. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook at herbeautifulmind220.
And so y'all can remember that, Her Beautiful Mind.
Oh yeah, I'll make it real easy for you.
Yes, you can friend request her or whatever. Just drop an inbox, or you could contact me for me to contact her for you, and I will connect you. But
Absolutely.
thank you, Brenda.
Thank you for having me. I love talking to you. I love your podcast. This is so amazing. I was just telling you before we started. I've said on air. This like it feels like church. Like every time I come on, you have a woman on here who's saying something that I need to hear. Right? I'm like, oh, I'm about to run. You're about to make me run. So thank you for creating this platform.
Yes, you are so welcome. And whatever else you come up with, girl, we can do it.
All right, you know I will. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just I just love something to a point. It could help people grow and make them aware of things, because we're so cluttered with political stuff and negativity and killings and just all that stuff. But it's like, let's get back to our roots.
Yes.
Let's get back to the basics. Like, okay, this is where we're gonna start loving each other, doing things of nature.
Yes.
So this is what I'm creating, to a point where if somebody ready to get on some real stuff, just come over here.
I know that's right.
And you can hear something and be realistic about it, and you could question yourself to fix yourself.
Right. And that's the key. That right there. That's a great way to do it. I'm telling you, that's great.
Girl, yeah. So thank you, girl.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.